Hey there, it's Amanda Guarnieri here from the Resume RX. I am a nurse practitioner since 2011, and I'm here to share the career and professional side of things to help make your transition a little bit easier and to help you find a job that leaves you both professionally and personally fulfilled. Today I'm going to tackle the question of what is credentialing. I feel like that's a term that we hear and use a lot, but as a newer nurse practitioner or an NP student, you may not know exactly what that means. So I'm going to break it down for you in some super easy to understand terms and steps so that at the end of this video, you've got a better idea of what's going on. And stay till the end so that I can point you in the direction of my new grad NP credentialing cheat sheet so that you have something in your back pocket to reference when this question comes up again. Okay, so what is credentialing? As a big term, credentialing is essentially you becoming legit as a nurse practitioner. And what happens is there's a side of things that you are responsible for as an individual. And then there's a side of things that's kind of on the back end that's usually handled by employers. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but first I'm going to start with the things that you need to be doing in order for you to be credentialed. Okay, so first things first on the credentialing checklist is your certification as a nurse practitioner. And maybe I should back up. The first thing really is that you've graduated from school. So you have gone to NP school and you've graduated with either your MSN or your DNP, essentially giving you the education and the permission to sit for your nurse practitioner boards. So that first element of credentialing, I guess you could say, is your diploma or your transcript. But the second thing that's just as important, maybe even more so, are your boards. So if you are in NP school, you are in a particular tract and you're being prepared to sit for a particular board exam. And once you sit for those boards and graduate or pass them and you are issued your official certification, that's really the first major checkbox towards being credentialed. So that's saying that you've been issued a board certification, and by the credentialing bodies that be, the credentialing center of whichever organization has issued your exam, you are recognized as a board certified nurse practitioner. So keep in mind, in kind of the umbrella of things, board certifications are kind of at the national level, right? There's nothing state specific about board certifications. Everybody, regardless of what state you live in, if you're in the US, you are taking tests that are through a particular credentialing body. And whether you're in New York or California, if you are an FNP, you're taking one of two NP exams. So the next element of credentialing is more state specific, and this is your state license. So once you have graduated, taken your boards, you can apply for your state nurse practitioner license. Now, some states are different and refer to them differently. So some states call it the APRN, or the Advanced Practice Registered Nurse license. And that's an umbrella term because, while I'm saying nurse practitioners, really I should recognize that our colleagues are certified nurse midwives and certified registered nurse anesthetists that all fall under this advanced practice nurse umbrella. So from a state perspective, this is going to vary state to state. Refer to your board of nursing and figure out what your state recognizes you as in terms of your license. Here in New York, I'm an APRN, whereas when I worked in Ohio, I was a CNP, a certified nurse practitioner, in terms of my license. So this next step, state specific, refer to your board of nursing. Some states lump together the nurse practitioner and the RN license. Some places don't. And also some places, like California, for example, you have to apply for an additional registration number to be able to prescribe. So that next credentialing step happens at the state level and refers to your license. So another part of your credentialing that is something that is usually in the domain of your responsibility is something called your NPI number, and that's your National Provider Identification Number. It's something that's federally issued, and it essentially adds you to the national list of prescribers, providers, like physicians, advanced practice providers, PAs, etc. And this is something that's governed through CMS, which is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid. So this is an insurance thing. So if you are working in a cash pay clinic, yes, you can practice without this, but chances are you will be working in a place that bills insurance. So you need to get your NPI number so that you can give that over to your employer so that when they do their end of credentialing, they have your registration number. Another federally issued license, if you plan to prescribe and if you're able to prescribe scheduled substances, is your DEA number. So that DEA stands for Drug Enforcement Administration, and this is basically the permission that you have to prescribe scheduled substances, narcotics, etc. So if this is going to be part of your practice, then you will want to get this license. And if your employer offers to pay for this, this is great news because right now, as of 2020, it's $731 for a 3-year license. So it's something that you will likely need. Most providers, most NPs do need this, but there's an off chance that your employer may pay for it, in which case, if you're a new grad and you know that your employer is going to pay for it, you can plan to have that reimbursed. But the process you'll probably end up doing on your own, and good news, it can be done completely online. Okay, so that pretty much sums up the credentialing side of things that you will be responsible for. You will graduate, you will sit for your boards, you'll apply for your state license, you'll apply for your NPI number, and you'll apply for your DEA license. Now, the other side of things most often happens with your employer. They do this for you more often than not. And this is the other side of credentialing, same terminology, but it refers to making you legit with insurance companies. So what an employer will do on your behalf is they will take all of your information. They need usually all the documents that you've been issued on your side of the credentialing things. And then what they do is they submit all this information to the major insurance companies that they bill under so that when you see patients, they can collect money for the patients that you see because you're a registered provider with that insurance company. You're credentialed with that insurance company. So that's the first major thing that happens with the employer side of credentialing. The other thing that the employer side of credentialing will do is they will register you with their malpractice insurance. So that should be a conversation that you have with your employer. Do they provide that? Is that a benefit of your employment? And what do you need to do in addition to the malpractice insurance that they provide? Now, if you're going to be seeing patients in a hospital, that's another aspect of the employer side of credentialing where they will help you obtain medical staff privileges at the hospital. Even though you have your license and your certification and you're registered with the different insurance companies, each hospital also has a process making you legit as a provider, a recognized provider in that hospital so that you can see patients under the terms of their medical staff bylaws. So this can be a long and lengthy process, even if you are already licensed as an NP, even if you are switching jobs in the same state and you're already registered with all these insurance companies. The process may go faster when you're switching employers, but keep in mind that there's so much on the back end that the employer doesn't just have to register you as a provider with an insurance company, but they have to register you as a provider of their practice with the insurance company. So there's a lot that happens on the back end, which explains why the credentialing process can often be pretty lengthy. Now, something to note is that not being credentialed doesn't always prohibit you from working. Once you are licensed and certified, you can legally work as a nurse practitioner. However, you may not be able to bill. So something that may happen is that if you have a planned orientation period that's, at least a month, let's hope, 1 or 2 months, it's possible that your employer may have you start even if your credentialing, the employer side of credentialing, is not yet complete because you will be billing under a different provider if you're on orientation. So I hope that clears things up about what credentialing is, what your responsibilities are, and what are usually the responsibilities of your employer. Did you enjoy this video? If so, I would love it if you would share it with a nurse practitioner friend, colleague, or classmate so that we can make this overwhelming process a little bit easier for all nurse practitioners. And don't forget to head to my website, theresumerx.com. There you can grab my free new nurse practitioner guide, which has a credentialing cheat sheet. It breaks down everything that we talked about in this video, as well as a timeline of what you should be doing in the months up to and surrounding graduation. Until next time, remember that I'm always rooting for you, and I will see you again soon.